tuned in to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I'm your host, Ronald Donahue, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Jeff McIntosh. Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening and a snowy December evening to all our listeners out there.
And we're also joined by Mr. Mario Lazo.
How y'all doing out there? And I'm here with the 74-degree weather.
We hate you, Mario.
So coming back, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know we've missed a couple episodes. I was actually under the weather. Speaking of that, how was everybody's Thanksgiving? Did everybody have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah. Happy that I go to my brother's in-laws for Thanksgiving. They're really nice folks. Really, really nice. And the food?
How about?
The food is delicious, and it's done all by his wife, my brother's stepmother. I mean, not stepmother, but mother-in-law, and she can cook up food.
How about you, Jeff? How was your Thanksgiving?
I'm happy to report that there were no deaths other than that of the turkey and the ham.
That's good. That's good.
In my family, sometimes you can have an absolutely quiet holiday and everybody's great to be around. But usually it's like, I've got kids that are like Japanese fighting fish, and they look at each other and then it's on,
Oh, wow.
And my son is going, I can't stand your daughter. She's a scumbag. And my daughter's going, oh, I can't stand you. I hate you. You're horrible. And I'm like,
oh man.
It's time for us to go home, hon.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have plenty of drama to go along with the turkey, huh?
Oh yeah, drama and stuffing, and usually it's more drama.
Oh wow. Well, I was able to at least. I cooked because I started cooking earlier in the week. I like a lot of my side dishes and what have you, and my turkey. I do a 2-day dry brine on my turkey. So I started. Let me see. That was on Tuesday when I started it. And then like Wednesday, I woke up, my throat was kind of sore. And I was just thinking it was maybe like sinuses or something like that. And then Thursday, Thanksgiving, I took some, we went to my wife's family to eat. I took some Alka-Seltzer cold, and that kind of like helped it, the pain for a bit, but then it came back. And so I went to urgent care on Friday, and the doctor was like, oh, this is not really like a cold. This is something viral. And yeah, so stomach and throat and everything. Yeah, I was like not feeling great that weekend. But hey, I'm back, thankfully, back in good health again, and ready to get on with this podcast.
Ready to mix it up.
So tonight we'll start off with a report from Variety Magazine concerning the Voltron live action movie. We mentioned this actually a few shows back, because the actual first person that they mentioned was going to be in it, big name star, was Henry Cavill. But it really appears that this is going to be much bigger than, at least I can say, I thought it was going to be. They've just signed 2 more actors, Lauren Gordon and Tim Griffin. Some of her credits are for Lauren is the Late Night with the Devil. I saw it. I didn't like it. The horror movie that came out. She's also been on, it was a series, Hotel Cocaine, a couple other movies, Undertow, Saw 5 and the Claremont murders. And Tim Griffin, I've seen him before. He's been in Grey's Academy, Prime, Suspect, Covert Affairs, and is a really creepy series I was watching, really, really good, called Wayward Pines. Now these are just some of the most recent ones, but as I said, the first one we mentioned was Henry Cavill. They have signed on Sterling K. Brown. I mean, this guy is like an award-winning actor, really, really good actor. Rita Ora, Alba, Batista, Samson, Ko. Now these other people I don't know, but like I said, I do know Sterling Brown, Henry Cavill, Rita Ora, and Tim Griffin for sure. And so the director, his name is Rawson Thurber. There was I never even knew that these things existed, but there's a Voltron. I guess this is for like diehard Voltron fans. I've never heard of this before in my life, but they got him. He made a video for the fans at a Voltron event. And what he said was, I want to make sure that we stay true to the heart and spirit of Voltron. In this film, we're going to be introducing an entirely new generation of pilots. We've reimagined Voltron for the live action world. So seeing that they're getting these like heavy hitters, Henry Cavill and Sterling K. Brown and a bunch of other talented actors and actresses. What do you think about this movie? I mean, do you think that this is going to be really a great movie? Does it have the potential to be a great? Now we know that doesn't deal with the, that's not really the actors, that's the script and the director and all that. But are you all feeling more comfortable now that this might actually turn into something really good, seeing that they are really getting some high-powered talent to star in this movie?
It sounds to me like they're trying to keep more to the format of the animated series. That there's going to be 4 or 5 different pilots. They're going to have the robot dogs or wolves, whatever they were, and they're going to try to contain a fight or contain a battle they're not going to be able to, and then they're going to have to go and form Voltron, and you're going to hear I'm going to form the right leg, I'm going to form the left leg, and I'm going to form the head. And then hopefully they'll have some cool, nifty effects where they can do that cyber sword or that electronic sword, whatever it was that he used. I always thought was pretty cool for a cartoon.
Right. What say you, Mario?
I'm hoping that it comes out and people will get to enjoy it. Now, the issue is going to be what age group will or lend itself to go see it immediately. And then you have maybe another generation, our generation, that didn't grow up with it. But, if by word of mouth or if you read, hey, it's good, yeah, we'll flock to see it. But like I said, I'll give it 1 week and then, I'll invade the theater. Because, I watched 1 or 2 episodes back, what was it, in the 80s or 90s?
80s.
Yeah. And, at that time I was already married. So, but that doesn't stop me from seeing something, I like this field, so hopefully of what I can hear, if it's good, I'll be there,
The only thing that I'm hoping, so I would like them to keep with the storyline of the original series, the animated series. But what I'm hoping, and at least in my mind, I think that's what they're going to go for. I think this is just going to be like, how can I put it? More of a mature version of the Voltron story. I don't think they're going to go 100% like the animated series, because I think sometimes if you try to take some elements out of an animated show and put it into live action, it kind of looks ridiculous. It doesn't always look that good. Or, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to make something realistic. And of course, it's science fiction. But even like, I think sometimes when they take certain elements out, it's like, man, come on, you're going too far now. So I'm just hoping that this is going to be more of it doesn't have to be dark and gritty because the series wasn't like that. But
Right, yeah.
if we're talking about war and fighting aliens and things, okay, it's not going to be a super pretty world or universe we're dealing with. So I'm just hoping that it's going to just, if it's going to be it's going to be a war story. We know that there's going to be fighting in it. I'm just hoping it's going to be more of how can I put it? Not super, it doesn't have to be super gritty so you can't take your kids to see it, but just something a little bit more realistic, not so polished like the old, you remember the old G.I. Joe cartoons? Like everybody's shooting guns and nobody ever dies, nobody ever gets hit. I don't want it to be like that. I don't want the spaceships or aliens they're blowing up to be, unmanned spaceships. You know what I mean? I want it to be a war story. If it's going to be a war story, let it be a war story. Not too gritty and I don't think it's going to be anything gruesome or anything like that, or too graphic. But at least, like I say, make it more like a war, science fiction war story is all I'm hoping it turns out. It turns out to be.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like I said, there's a lot of new movies coming out, or ideas for new movies, or in the works movie. Let's hope that they start coming out worth seeing. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna tell you, but this is what I have hope for. This is what I actually have a lot of. Well, you know what? Let me cover let's cover the second story, and then I'm gonna tell you what my hopes are for the future. So, to go to our second story, Deadline reports that Idris Elba has signed on and joined the cast as Duncan, man-at-arms, for the upcoming Amazon MGM movie, Masters of the Universe. That's kind of an amazing revelation to me when it comes to this movie. I mean, I'd heard about it. I knew that they were making it again. I mean, it's been made like with Dolph Lundgren before, and many years ago. I knew they were doing it again. The main actor that they have to play He-Man, Nicholas Galazine, I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything before. They also have a young lady by the name of Camila Mendez who's playing Tila. This was one of Prince Adam's, He-Man before he changed into He-Man was Prince Adam. One of the people in his, castle or what have you, that served him. And so to hear that they're getting once again this like a high-powered actor for this role, and really remember, this is a very important role in that series. Duncan was basically like what Prince Adam's like right-hand man, protector, and all this stuff here. This is a pretty heavy role. So for me, in my mind, for them to hire or to get someone like Idris Elba, it shows me they're taking this very serious. I think that these different properties that we're seeing now, these properties that were, animated series and really big back in the 80s, and now that they're coming to the present, making these movies, I think that they're really taking this really serious. And I think that we look at some of the old movies, like the one with Dolph Lundgren was not great at all. But I think that they're trying to set a new benchmark with these new movies. because the properties in itself are really good. It just needed a good script and it needed some good actors to go along with it. So my question for you, again, this is similar to the first question. What are you all thinking now that Idris Elba has signed on as this really important role in this movie?
Oh, I'm thumbs up 100%. He's a great actor. I like him, and he's really good as a protagonist in those action films. So I'm hoping that they start shooting quick.
From my understanding, I think it's due out next year, sometime in 2020. No, I'm sorry. I think it's 2026, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
What say you, Jeff? What are you thinking?
I first became aware of him as an actor as I saw him on a UK procedural cop show, Luther, I think the title of it was.
Yes, it is.
And he's pretty good in that. And I think, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but I believe he was the character of Heimdall in the first Thor movie. He was the guardian of the Rainbow Bridge, I think.
Yes.
And he was pretty good in those. I would have liked to see him. There was some discussion that I had seen a few months ago after Daniel Craig finished the last James Bond, is that there was some chatter about having him test for the new having him test out for the role of James Bond. And I thought that would have been kind of an inspired choice. I would have liked to see, what he would have done with the role of James Bond. So I'm looking forward to anything that he chooses to try out.
Now, as far as that James Bond, they had actually talked about that years ago. They had mentioned his name. It had been brought up. But at this point now, I think Idris Elba I'm 55. I think he's like 53, 54. I think they're going to be looking for somebody younger because, normally when you look at the actors for those James Bond movies, they're doing a few different ones. You know what I mean? Like, look at Sean Connery. As horrible as it was, look at Roger Moore, and even Daniel Craig did a number of them. So I think they're really, I did hear that, and in matter of fact, just like you, I heard recently, I don't think when they mentioned it recently, it had the weight that it did like years ago when they were talking about it. I don't think that that's going to happen because, matter of fact, I don't know who they're talking about, but I did hear that there's somebody that they already have in mind to fill those new James Bond shoes, someone younger. So, but now back to the topic at hand. Another movie that he was in. Now the movie was horrible, but his acting was pretty good in it. He was in Prometheus.
Yeah, you're right.
You remember? He was on the spaceship.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a very good actor. In that show Luther, if you all haven't watched the entire series, I'm telling you, watch it. Luther is an awesome series, really good. And matter of fact, they had a movie, I believe it was on Netflix, that I guess after the series ended, he was supposed to end up going to prison for something. Well, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but this whole new movie that came out with him, same character, he gets out of prison and there's a whole big crazy mystery thing he's got to go through, and it's like almost like an adventure spy detective movie. Really, really good. Really, really good movie. But yeah, at the end of the day, again, I think that they're taking these properties very serious. They're getting really, high powered talent, very, very talented actors and actresses to take on the roles of these movies. Because again, I think they respect these properties, and they really want to make something really good that is going to bring people who remember the original. Remember the kids that were watching this in the '80s got, these are the ones that have kids and families now. So we're talking about possibly introducing a whole new generation to these '80s properties who might not, like I say, the kids of the kids from the '80s. The thing I was saying to you all, which I have hope for, I had heard years ago, I believe it was Leonardo DiCaprio had a script or was in the talks of making a Robotech movie, a live action Robotech movie. Now, that's why I'm really banking on the success of these different shows, movies, the Masters of the Universe and all these other Voltron, all these other 80s properties. They're supposed to be, I know they were talking about it because they did drop some hints in the movie of a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie. So I'm just hoping that Robotech eventually comes to the forefront. Now that's a movie I definitely think done right could be a really, really good movie. A really good. I don't think people are like, because of those horrible Transformers movies, I don't think people are burnt out from robots yet. And now remember the difference between Transformers and Robotech is Robotechs, there are pilots inside these, they're called Veritechs, the transforming planes, and they had other series that went along with it where they had other different vehicles, but the main one was Macross with the planes. And so, and it was and it was a really great war story. I could see them taking that entire series and making it into 3 movies, 3 different parts, 3 different movies, and maybe even beyond that, because after the original series, they had a whole different series with some of the same characters from the original one, and a younger generation after them. So again, I really hope that these movies that they're making from the 80s are going to open up the doors for a lot of other great animated properties that I remember watching, and I think would really make some great movies, really entertaining films. So lastly, we have come to the point of the show where we are at the question of the week. So the question for the week this week is, it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter here. So it's name one fantasy Christmas film that many people like that you don't, and then name a Christmas fantasy film that most people don't like, but you do. I'll let you start first, Mario.
Okay. I'm gonna get some backlash for this. What is that? A Miracle on 34th Street?
Ooh.
Yeah, but after you see
now that's the one you don't like, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
After you see it one time, okay. So, it's not supposed to be comical, and during Christmas I like, to see funny movies,
Okay.
To lift your spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one that I like and most other folks don't like it because they say it's not a Christmas movie, Die Hard. Okay, let me hear it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
One and two.
It's so funny that you say that. I had a talk with a couple of my buddies, and we were talking about Christmas movies, and sure enough, that was exactly what came up. That is like a big controversy. Whereas you have is no middle. It's either yeah or no, yay or nay. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I have to respectfully disagree with you, Mario. I love that movie. I love the first one only because it's set at Christmas time. Yeah, but I don't agree that it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay, and I'll tell you why I said it's a Christmas movie. Because one of the first guy he kills, he sends them down in an elevator and he's got a Santa Claus hat on. Hey, that's it. That's it. It's a die-hard Christmas movie.
Okay. All right. Very good. What about you, Jeff? What are your two movies?
Well, I've been sitting here trying to think of a single holiday fantasy movie that everybody likes and I hate, and I can't narrow it down to one movie. But I will say this: Hallmark is the channel that hates men. Any Hallmark movie set in Christmas that deals with a single man or a single woman, and they're looking for love, and they find the man of their dreams or the woman of their dreams or the prince, or they become Santa Claus, or they marry the son or daughter of the Santa Clauses, or they marry into royalty. I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't watch that stuff. It's all formula, and it's like I look at my wife and I'll say, they pay somebody to write these scripts. I don't believe in finding true love at Christmas. I'm sorry, men and women who are listening that like these Hallmark movies. Tain't real, McGee. It just doesn't happen.
I'm telling you, Hallmark movies make those sci-fi channel movies look like Academy Award movies. They're so bad. The town, I don't care whether you're the librarian or you're the street sweeper. Everybody has a mansion. Everybody has this huge house. It doesn't matter if you've been homeless for 3 weeks, your hair is done nice, makeup is done nice. Everybody looks clean, not a thread out of place. Those Hallmark movies, and I'm telling you, it's like I'm reliving our conversation. Same thing. I was talking to my buddy at the event today, and he was like, he told me and another guy, he says, I got to tell you, I know those movies are so bad, but sometimes I will sit down and I'll watch one of those Hallmark movies. I'm like, man, you are on your own, dude. You are on your own. I can't. They're so mind-numbingly bad. And again, all due respect for anybody who likes it. I know all movies are subjective, but for me, if it came between getting a root canal with no anesthesia or Hallmark, okay, let me take the pain, man, because I would refuse. I will not watch those Hallmark movies. Well, let me tell you mine. So for the movie
the movies that I did like.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, knock it out, Jeff.
Okay, I got two. And
go ahead.
The first one it's on Prime Video, and it's Secret Santa, and it's murder and mayhem around a family's Christmas dinner. How can you not really get behind something like that?
Go ahead.
My other movie from the 1970s, Black Christmas.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. And they've done a remake too, but yeah, the remake I don't think was as good as the original, but yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah, that is a good movie. Okay, so for mine, and I know this is, like you, Mark, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this one. If I said this right now to Gigi, she would just be going rambling. That's our co-worker, Jeff. I despise that Nightmare Before Christmas movie.
Okay.
When I went to the theater, I actually fell asleep. That's the first time in my life I ever fell asleep on a movie. I think I probably got in maybe 25 to 30 minutes in, and when I woke up, I think I was probably at maybe about 20 minutes left to go. That movie to me is one of the worst movies. And I love Tim Burton. I really like. Well, let me back it up. I like some of Tim Burton's stuff, but that movie. Even my daughter, I was talking to her recently. She's like, "Oh, I gotta watch that movie." I'm like, "Okay, well, you gonna watch it by yourself, man?" Because and I know a lot of people love that movie. I am just not one. That movie, I cannot stand that movie. Now, I'm gonna go way out on this one, and nobody's probably. Well, I'm gonna cheat on this one, so you have to forgive me. I am kind of cheating on this one, but I'm gonna tell you what it is. So the movie, I would say, a lot of people don't like that I do. It's a 1966 movie. It has 2 stars out of 10. The name of it is called Santa's Christmas Circus. Now, the reason why I like it, the movie is terrible. I mean, it is abominable, horrible movie. But I saw it watching Riff Tracks. You know, the guys from used to be a Mystery Science Theater. You know, they do their own thing now, Riff Tracks, where they were like cracking jokes on it the whole time. So even though it's a horrible movie, that's actually one of the movies that's on my yearly Christmas movie list to watch. It's terrible, but it's so bad. And to hear, like I said, I've never watched it on its own. I've only watched it through, Riff Tracks, but I couldn't even imagine just watching it on its own. It's so bad. There's this one little girl. I'm telling you, I hope her parents took her to the doctor, because this girl was coughing through the entire movie like she had tuberculosis or something. And they never edited it out of the movie. You hear her like coughing up a lung during the movie. It's so bad. It's so bad. But yeah, those are my 2 different movies.
Has anybody ever seen Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?
Ooh, that's another one. Oh, I've seen that. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I've seen that one, Jeff. I think when I saw that one, that was with the original show I was talking about, the Mystery Science Theater 3000. I think that's when I saw it, and they were like cracking jokes on that movie the entire time. But that's a terrible movie. What movie?
It had Pia Zadora. She was one of the children, and she grew up and had a very, very short career back in the 70s, I think, or her husband had a lot of bucks and was able to get her into a couple of movies, and she's fallen by the wayside. I haven't heard anything about her in years, but Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. That'll put you off movies forever.
Yeah, that was one. I've seen that one was really bad. And then there was this other one that they were cracking jokes on too. It was a Spanish movie, Santa Claus movie, and it was so weird because they had this guy that was supposed to be like, I guess he was painted all red, that was supposed to be like the devil, and he was trying to have these kids doing like all this bad stuff before Christmas. And then I don't know if Santa Claus was scolding the devil. I mean, it's just like crazy, man. It's some crazy movies. For real.
I gotta see more of those, man. I gotta see more of those.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they have a ton of those on for anybody else who's interested. I try to get people to watch them. I was talking to a guy the other day, another coworker of mine was like, "Man, have you ever seen this movie? Man, you gotta watch it." I'm telling you, at least for me, if you like just like stupid humor, that's me, like Three Stooges, and just like I said, these guys are just cracking jokes on movies the entire time. Really bad movies. Either Mystery Science Theater 3000 or the Riff Tracks, you can find on a ton of the episodes for free on Tubi. the free service. You can find them. They have quite a few of them, not as many as Tubi, on Amazon. You can find them on there as well. But really, really funny. Really, really funny. To see these like really, really bad movies, and the guys are just really, really funny, making a bunch of jokes on them. So anyway, that wraps up our show this evening. I want to thank my host, Mr. Mario Lazo and Jeff. We thank you all so much for supporting the show. And please do this for us. If you guys have any questions for us or any subjects that you would like us to cover or talk about, please send us an email, let us know. And if it's something appropriate that we can actually do on the show, we'll definitely dive in and cover it. So thank you once again. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Jeff. And you all have a great evening.
Well,
stay warm.
Yeah, bundle up, you guys up north.
All right.
29 degrees, Mario. Come on up, baby.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.